Welcome to Life Change Solutions, a podcast for hope, health, and happiness. I'm your host, Kendra Crompton, and today I have with me two guests who are very special to me. I've known them for a while, but one of them in particular has surpassed most of the population. She is in the top 1% of people living today. She is 102 years old, and I'd like to welcome Consuelo. Consuelo, hello.
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 Yes, hello. Consuelo speaks Spanish, so we may be going back and forth with a little translation with Spanish. So, and also I have with her her daughter, Connie. And Connie has been her caregiver for the last 5 years. So I think our guests would love to hear your secret to living to being 102. ¿Qué es tu secreto para vivir a 102?
El secreto único que tengo es de Dios.
She said that it is from God. It is God's secret why she's here, and we're glad to have you here today. Mucho gusto para tener hoy. So tell us a little bit about what brings you or what you do to be healthy. You know, most people at 102 aren't healthy.
Oh,
¿Qué haces para tener salud?
yo estoy contenta.
She says what gives her health is that she's content, she's happy. So a lot with what I talk about in my mind body, she's saying that the being content helps her to stay alive. Yeah? Yeah?
Amen.
So what gives you what makes you content? What makes you happy? ¿Qué haces para hacer feliz?
Sí. Siempre repito, lo que tengo son gracias de Dios, no mías.
She says she's always thankful to God. Did I get that right?
Yep.
She's always thankful to God. And so that gives you hope to stay alive?
Sí.
See?
Me siento muy bien por la gracia de Dios también.
She feels good because of the grace of God. And tell us more about how you ended up living. Well, I'm going to ask Connie a few questions now. Is that okay? Connie, how did you end up being the full-time caregiver for your mom?
Well, we had an episode about going to she fell and they took her to the emergency room, and then they kept it in the hospital and they gave her all kinds of medications. So,
and this was about how long ago?
This was six years ago.
6 years ago. So at that time, what were you doing? How did your life change because of this?
I was working full time and paying my bills like everybody else.
Okay, so you were working full time, and then your mom falls. She's in the hospital.
So I could not leave work. So I told my brother to go and see what happened. So he goes and he says, "Oh, there's no hope. They don't give her any hope. So we're gonna have to take her to the house and to have some caregivers there because there's no hope in the hospital." So I said, okay, so let me see how can I arrange to be able to go there. So I had to get a leave of absence, and I left. And when I got there, she was with no hope. So I thought, listen, first of all, she has never had so many medications in her body before, so I'll take care of her. So I started taking all the medications away, little by little. And in 2 weeks' time, her body started picking up and recuperating, and she didn't remember nothing. She didn't remember anything.
So before she was living with you, where was she living?
In Guatemala.
Oh, so she was in Guatemala.
She fell. She went to Guatemala. She always traveled back and forth. Always.
Okay, so she's gone back and forth. And when she was in Guatemala, who was she living with?
With her sister, my aunt.
Okay, so they were living together.
Some caregivers that were there for both of them because they were only 2 years apart.
Oh, qué gran cambio para ti para moverte de Guatemala a América. Y vivir con tu hija.
But she always lived with
So
me
I just said was that what a huge change for Consuelo to leave Guatemala, where she was living, and then come and live with her daughter. That was huge. ¿Cómo era para ti? How was that for you?
Que lo que decía,
que si quería venir a vivir a Estados Unidos, que si le fue bien.
sí.
She has always lived and gone back and forth.
So it wasn't that big of a change because she
had a room in the house and she always back and forth. And she stopped driving here at 90. 90 years old when we took away the keys. But
at 90, you took away the keys?
Cuéntele que hemos vivido en muchas partes.
She has lived in different places. So.
Okay, so there wasn't too bad of a change because you were accustomed
en diferentes lugares.
To living in different places. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So my brother lived in Mexico at the time. So he would come back and forth and go to Guatemala and back and forth and everything. But so the point was that, so I had to leave her there because I had to come back to work.
Right.
And I left her there and everything went fine until she recuperated with no problem.
Okay.
And then my aunt got sick, really sick.
Okay, okay. And at this time, how old was she?
When she was 94, my aunt was 92.
Okay. So the two sisters are living together and they're in their 90s.
They are codependents. They have always lived together. She would back and forth, very responsible sister, always took care of her sister, always. My aunt never got married.
Okay.
So she would always take care of her sister.
So then at this time, you have to get a leave of absence. Your mom comes to stay with you. And then...
So she started still going back and forth. But I got my job back and everything. But a year later, my aunt got sick. So the doctors were saying, don't bring your mom back because she could die. She sees her sister passing.
Oh, so even after this fall, she would travel back and forth. That's amazing. Tú eres muy fuerte.
¿Qué dice?
You're very strong.
Fuerte.
Muy fuerte. Tú eres muy fuerte.
Me siento fuerte también.
Sí. She says, yes, she is very strong.
Diga que donde estoy todos se asustan de lo que tengo.
What did she say?
She goes to daycare and everybody says that they don't believe her age.
No, right? 102. Who lives to be 102? How do you live to be 102?
Entonces,
her strong voice.
Ya le contó los 100 años que llevo.
Mm-hmm.
So what did she say?
She says that if you know that she got the 102.
Yeah, 102. So really, this change to be a caregiver, and my podcast is about change. And I think for you, this was more of a change, a huge change.
Yeah, it's a major change. Major change. It's not a matter of money or position or nothing. You have to drop everything you're doing.
Right.
And then decide, what are you going to do?
Right.
If you're going to take care of her, you have to do it full time because you can't do it part time.
So you never went back to work?
Yeah, I went back to work and I couldn't keep up. So I had somebody at the house, then they would not show up. Then I had put her in daycare, and it didn't work out. The hours of operation doesn't work for you because they want you to pick them up at 4:30.
So you couldn't
It just doesn't work. So I decided, well, I better just leave and take care of her because you spend a lot of money in caregivers, a lot of money.
Cuénteles que ninguno de la casa se había dado cuenta de que habían pasado los años. Tanta gente.
What did she say?
She says that she's surprised that all the time that have gone by and nobody had noticed.
Oh.
Nobody in the house. I don't. She never.
We didn't put attention to the years.
Yeah.
We never put attention to
and I couldn't believe that for your 100th birthday, you went to Guatemala, right? So you traveled at 100 years old. Most people at 100 years old cannot travel.
Well, 2020 is her 100, so we had to cancel the party in the 2020.
Uh-huh.
We couldn't have it in 21 And so we did it in 22. We just did it.
You did it in 22. So she was really 101, 102.
I never see the difference.
You didn't see the difference? No?
No. You never thinking I have 100 years.
You don't think you have 100?
Y ahora tampoco.
How old do you think you are?
It's the same.
The same.
Difference.
Yeah. So age is just a number. That's a saying. Age solo una número. For you.
You feel good.
Yeah. You feel young?
Sí.
She feels young.
She can't stay still. She has to be out.
No, I don't change in my life. Don't what's changing my life right now.
No? So what brings you happiness?
Happy always.
You're always happy.
Sí.
Well, that I think is a secret to staying alive, to be 102, is to always be happy. So one of the things that we've talked about is not only did you have your mother, but you have your grandkids at your house too.
That's what keeps her happy. The grandkids is what keeps you going, you know?
Now, I have heard this. I have heard that once you bring the grandkids in, it really livens up the grandmother, right? The adults are not the primary. You know, you don't take care of them. They take care of the babies. They take care of everybody. They're crying. They need milk. You're going to give her a bath. Oh, how beautiful dress, you know? So they're always busy in their daily routine. Well, I think too, when we study other cultures where it's very common to keep your elderly at home with you. Here in the United States, we have a little bit more, we're a little more affluent, and we're able to put them in care centers, and they don't live as long. They don't live as long.
Because you see people dying next to you and sick next to you all the time. You don't see the youth. You don't see the happiness of the children.
Well, and what the research shows is that community, when you're with younger and older, that the elderly have a purpose. They still are interacting with the young people. It keeps
Connie,
them.
hace 2 años que descubrimos esto, ¿no?
What'd she say? After 2. Oh, by the way, listeners, for your information, not only is she 102 and has lived to be 102, but we were going to do this podcast in the beginning of December, and Consuelo got COVID.
Yeah.
So at 102, Consuelo not only lived to be 102, she survived COVID. Amazing. Like, what is it? You're like just the Energizer bunny. You keep living and being happy and going.
Well, I was happy before and I got happy now.
Okay. You're just happy no matter what.
And no different.
There's no difference. You just stay happy. Do you know that is a gift?
No.
That is a gift because...
Always there.
And most people don't. They find the negative. They talk about their sicknesses and their illness, and that makes them more sick. So you took away all the medicines. She became better, and that became a problem.
Ya le digo que es usted la que inventó.
Oh, tell me anything that I should know.
No, what happens is that she's 102.
Yes.
But now she's saying that she's 201.
Oh.
And 100 years went by really fast.
100 years goes by fast, huh?
Oh, I don't know. She not told me. I never see it.
If she didn't tell you how old you were, you wouldn't know.
Never know.
No.
Hey, I wish that would happen. Please don't tell me how old I am, and I will never know. So, yeah. And I think, too, if we just don't even think about the number of how old we are, it doesn't become a thing, right? And we just, life is life, and we're happy.
We're happy. We're supposed to be happy, but you have to face the reality. No, you have to face the reality.
And one of the realities that you faced was that now you are no longer working, you're a full-time caregiver, and you're watching the grandkids, and you can't get help. So even though her mind is healthy, her body is healthy, she still needs care because, she's healthy, but she can't walk. She can't do some of the things she used to be able to do, like take a shower. Una ducha es difícil, no?
Uh-huh.
A shower is difficult.
Because you have to, the body deteriorates, you like it or not. So it deteriorates and you have to take care of it. That's simple, It's just like a baby, just like a kid, like a kid.
Yeah. So
we enjoyed taking care of the kids, and it's so funny, it's so beautiful, but nobody enjoys taking care of the parents. And
it's a little bit harder than a little baby, right?
A little baby.
A little bigger. Although she's pretty tiny.
You have to change. Your mind has to change, You have to adjust.
So one thing that you mentioned about how you adjusted and how that worked for you, and even though it's challenging because daycare is very expensive and you do that a couple of times a week just so that you can have some free time. It's, by the way, listeners, it's $85 a day for her. And even with veterans benefits, it's very difficult to get those. And so those have been some of those challenges, is to get some of those services to help, because she is mentally alert. She doesn't have dementia or anything. And as far as when they take her blood pressure and health, she's deemed healthy. So if they're healthy, you can't get any services, only if you're sick. So that's one of the hard things, is that you are then forking out that money. And that makes it very challenging. But on the upside, you've mentioned to me you've seen some blessings with the grandchildren and how they interact with Consuelo.
Sí.
¿Te gusta
Nietos.
sus nietos?
I'm happy.
I'm
happy because I have plenty of nietos now.
How many nietos? How many? ¿Cuántos nietos?
What?
How many grandchildren?
Well, the grandchildren are having the kids now. So the grandchildren are 3 for my brother, my sister, and 2 for my 6 grandkids.
So the ones at your house are your great-grandchildren.
Great grandkids.
Mis nietos.
How many great-grandchildren? ¿Cuántos?
8 right
8
now.
great-grandchildren. And how many are living or with you, are you caring for?
None of them are living with us now. They move in September.
Okay.
But we go to their houses and we pick them up from school. We take them to activities. We go to basketball games.
And she comes with you?
She has to come with me.
She comes everywhere.
Everywhere.
So she's watching the basketball game. She's very active. And
she used to play when she was young, basketball.
Oh.
So
I was happy.
Yeah, so she says she's happy. Happy watching the great-grandchildren. That's got to be...
It's a lot of fun to watch them taking care of her.
Oh, tell me about that.
They take her to the games and introduce her, and they're not ashamed or nothing like that. To the contrary, they take her to the supermarket and everything. But my kids, my sons, my daughter, my niece, everybody used to take care of her too. Take her to places, to parks, to parties, to everywhere. So everybody always knew that Granny was coming. Granny's coming. Granny's coming.
Yes, I didn't know her name till Christmas. I always just called you Granny. Todos se llaman Granny. Everyone calls you Granny, right? You're Granny to everybody.
And where I working, everybody say they want to know what way I have the year.
Oh,
when she goes to the daycare, all her friends want to know her secret.
Oh yeah, I think our listeners want to know your secrets. All of our listeners and our viewers want to know your secret, and you say, I don't know. Do you eat anything special? ¿Que comes algo muy especial? ¿Que te gustas a comer? What do you like to eat?
They don't believe it. No, see.
¿Qué come?
What I eat?
Yes.
Everything.
Yeah?
Everything.
Yeah, she eats everything. She eats
no difference.
Everything that you eat. Everything she eats. Kentucky Fried Chicken. She eats the hamburger.
Oh, don't tell my listeners this. I tell them to eat healthy. But she
eats the broccoli, she eats the vegetables, she eats the fish, she eats
so everything. She just eats everything.
But a little bit.
But she eats portion.
Little portion.
Don't eat too much.
Oh, don't eat too much. I like that. Listeners, viewers, you hear that? Eat whatever you want, just don't eat too much.
Yeah.
Eat a little portions.
Little.
That's the secret.
Sí.
And she likes to have her vodka, her whiskey, her wine. A little bit.
Just a little bit. A little bit. Moderation.
I don't eat too much. Pero la verdad que no sé cuánto peso.
She has no idea how much she weighs. She doesn't care. She just wants to live life and eat what she wants, but she just eats a little bit in moderation. I think that's a really good tip for some of our viewers. Let's watch what we eat. But
she eats everything.
You can eat everything. Just watch those portion sizes.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. So one of the things that you had mentioned to me in our conversation before we met today was that the great-grandkids have really, it's shown them some responsibility where they'll wheel her through the grocery store and help her. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, every time we go out and the kids are the ones pushing her, people had to stop and say, oh, it's so nice to see the kids doing this because you never see kids taking care of the grandma. And they're like, she's not my grandmother. She's my great-grandmother. She's my great-grandmother. She's one or two, and they're always telling everybody.
So they're bragging. They're bragging. And what a neat thing for the great-grandchildren to care for the great-grandmother.
Yeah, they like it. They enjoy it. They show off to everybody, If they have a show in the school or something, we go and show up and they're like, give a space for my granny. My granny's coming, so put a space on the front or put a space back here.
Oh, I love it.
So they always try to put her in a specific place, so that way they have
that's something that you have taught them,
they have grown up. They grow up taking care of children. My children grew up taking care of my father. My father, was a World War II veteran and he was a sweetheart. So we will take him everywhere, but he never hit the wheelchair. He was always walk with us and with canes.
Now, how long ago did he pass away?
Oh, he passed away in 1995.
Oh, wow.
He passed away a long time ago.
So she's been pretty independent for quite a long time.
And then after my father passed away, my sister passed away 3 years after.
Oh, so that's really hard for
42. But she was able to recuperate, but it was very hard for her. Very hard to lose a daughter. Very hard. One of the hardest things.
We have talked about that a little bit on our show, that one of the hardest things that people go through is to lose their children. It's not a natural process.
And mostly with cancer, because you see them. You see them, you see their suffering. So, and there's nothing you can do. But my mom took care of her throughout the whole thing.
Wow.
Throughout the whole thing. And she was able to survive.
Look at her smiling. Look at, she's happy even here.
I don't want to, ¿por qué me pasó a mí eso?
She wants to know, why is she living so long?
It's too many people in the world.
There's too many people in the world. Well, you got something to give, and maybe it's because you had to be on this podcast to inspire others that, you know what, there is an alternative to putting your parents in a home. And what the research, and I started to mention this before, what the research shows is that they do better in home with care, and it's also less expensive.
There's no doubt.
And I have seen that. I work, I teach water aerobics for a very nice elderly care center, and they would prefer to be with family.
My son was an Eagle Scout, and in one of the Eagle projects, we were always taking care of the elderly. We would go to the daycares and fix it and fix their rooms and bring them flowers and things. And he always grew up saying, I would never put anybody in a room like that. Or I would never put my grandparents or my parents in a place like that. Yeah. They're just so sad. They're so sad. It takes so much to make them happy again. Yeah. If everybody will go visit them and be with them, they will be happier.
No, it's true. Like some of these people, they maybe get a visit once a week from their family. And it's hard.
It's hard.
It's so different to have them constantly with you. And I think those great grandchildren help you to be happy. You get to see their games. And when you're isolated. When you're isolated.
Me encantan los niños.
She loves the children. She said she loves the children. And I think that does. And that's what the research shows, is that interaction is really important for quality of life.
But I think that it's good for the kids too.
Yes.
I mean, the children have to know what aging means, Yes. You're not young forever. You have to understand the body, what happens to a body. And they will appreciate life more, and they will respect more. And the elderlies and everything. But now families disconnect so
true.
much that it's just so sad. It's sad to see them.
It's true.
But it's nice for people to see her running around. She enjoys it.
Oh, and it's so inspiring. For
And now
you.
I have seven nietos y bisnietos, ¿verdad?
A bunch of babies.
A bunch of little ones,
God
huh?
give me to see all my bisnietos.
He let you live to see all of your
Sí.
great-grandchildren, is what she said. And that is a gift because a lot of people don't have the opportunity. And a lot of people, once they go into the hospital and they're given all these medicines, they feel like they got to take them. And I'm not saying don't take medicine. Sometimes you need to, but then other times you kind of can eliminate and see how they do. And that's what you did on your own. And she seems, she's lived she was 96 at the time, and now she's 102. So she's lived quite a full life, and wonders why she's here. One of the things that I love about your story is that connection of family.
Yeah, you have to have it.
And how beautiful that is to do. And I would love our listeners and viewers to know that, yes, it's hard. It's a little bit hard, but it's doable. And you're doing it on a very low income. You don't have that a lot of money.
Yeah. But it has to happen. You know what I mean? The money will come. Maybe come later or whatever, but it's enough to survive. It's enough to have a decent life. You have
And even travel.
travel
You've able
everywhere.
Cuéntele que todavía tengo la cabeza buena.
What did she say?
Says that you need to know that she has her head in place.
Yes,
Yeah.
your
Perfect.
mental faculties are perfect.
No, perfect.
Yeah, and that's a blessing because a lot of people that goes. My own
I
mother.
think it's to protect you.
So you don't have to.
You don't have to deal with it.
I don't know. That's really hard on the family. So you're very blessed. I know my mom has vascular dementia, and every once in a while she doesn't remember things, and that's really hard. And I have studied about the elderly 2 semesters in my social work, and it's really hard. One of the things that my mom, she used to take care of people. Same with your son in the elderly facilities, and her wish is, please don't ever put me in one of those. So we've worked to not do that. And for you viewers and listeners that want to know update on my mother, she has healed completely from the fall. Mm-hmm. And she's walking around like she's a rock star. And so against my sister's wishes, she wishes she wasn't walking around so much, but she's active. So yes, you can come back from a fall.
Exactly. And the doctor said, I asked him, did they recuperate from these bones? And he says, it doesn't matter how old are you, the bones will heal. You just have to give them time, and they will.
And it takes a little longer.
But they heal incredibly, because my aunt, there was another one. She fell and broke 7 pieces of her leg in 7 places, and it healed fast.
The body is an amazing thing.
Yeah, you just have to give them the love that they need, the care that they need, and they will walk again, But you have to be there for them. If you will leave them alone and push them aside, they just don't want to.
Well, they lose hope.
They lose hope. They don't want to.
I noticed that with my mom. She was really sad until I got there, and then her spirits lifted. Yeah. She was in the hospital with my father for, I couldn't get there right away, and their spirits lift. And I think that this is a really important message for our viewers and listeners, is that they need family. Our elderly need our families.
Your time.
And our time and our love and our care. And if we can give a little extra, even if it's challenging, and it is challenging.
Everybody has the time. They just have to put it in your calendar. Put it in your calendar, and then you make it happen. It doesn't take too much. Mostly some families have had 7 kids, 5 kids.
Right.
Come on,
Yeah.
Give it the time.
Well, I am so grateful that you came on the show, and I want to do a little recap. So Consuelo has said that she's happy, and she's always been happy, and it's never changed, even when she's fallen, even when she's had to change from her living situation from Guatemala to here. She remains happy. She finds those things to be happy about and doesn't dwell on the negative or ruminate about the past. She just is living in the present. And I love that. So one is she finds happiness. The two is that the grandchildren and the family, especially those great grandchildren, really bring happiness to you.
This is what I'll give to God. Don't change my life. I don't want to change my life.
She doesn't want to change her life. And then one of her first things that she said is she's grateful to God. That she knows the secret to living long is a blessing from God. So the secret to living, and eat whatever you want, but eat small portions. Don't miss out on that chocolate, right? What's her favorite food?
She loves chocolate. She can eat chocolate all day long.
Well, you and me are the same. I love chocolate.
It's okay.
So I wish I brought chocolate for you today, but I didn't bring chocolate. Instead, I brought you a gift. I brought you a gift. Yes, I got a gift for you and for you. And to all of you who are listening today, I have my book, and it is on sale in January.
¿Es English?
Es en español también para ti. Sí. So it's also in English and in Spanish. So I am going to give Granny hers in Spanish. En español.
Español.
Sí. Thank you. And in English. So those of you that want to find out about my book, that's what inspired this podcast in the first place. It's called Life Change Solutions. You can find it on Amazon or look under my name, Kendra Crompton. This month only, it is on sale for $6.99 from $10.99. So this month, the month of January only. So now's the time to pick up that book if you wanted a copy. Again, it's Life Change Solutions. And I wish I had written the book. When I knew you, I would have put you in the book, but there's a lot of inspiring stories just like Consuelo's and Connie's, who has, even though made that change, look at her. She's happy too.
I'm happy.
She's happy to have her mom and her grandchildren. So I will sign those books after I will sign those. But I want to thank you both for coming on the podcast, for sharing with us your story, sharing with us that positive influence, because I think that's one of the things that helps people feel good is if we send that positive energy out into the world. And thank you for sending that happiness that you have to my listeners and viewers. I hope that you've enjoyed this podcast today and enjoyed Consuelo and Connie and found out a few secrets to living to be 102. So thank you again, listeners. I want to thank you for all the comments. I've gotten more comments and more questions. I so appreciate it. Know that you can look at the notes and find out how you can contact me. I have a Facebook page called Life Change Solutions. You can contact me there. I have an email, kmcrompton57@gmail.com. If you want to personally message me, please message me at that. You can private message me on Facebook. And then also I have an Instagram. Go ahead and check out my Instagram. And then this will also be on YouTube and on your favorite podcast. So thank you all for supporting me and getting this inspiring message out of hope, health, and happiness. And today we found a 102-year-old who continues to have hope.
Pero pregúntele por qué uno de la familia se dio cuenta.
She wants to know why people don't know about her age. Other people.
Oh, why other people? Well, they're going to after this podcast. Many people, vas a saber que tú eres 102.
No.
Many people. So other people will know your age, and I think it's so inspiring. Gracias para estar en mi podcast hoy. Gracias, muchas gracias. Thank you very, very much. And again, thank you, listeners. This has been a episode of Life Change Solutions.